1067 The Fan presents.
Are you ready?
Mixed Martial Barts. And now, 3, 2, 1. It's time for the show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Our next guest is set to take on Vladimir Matyushenko at UFC 129. Jason the Hitman Brilz joins the show. Jason, what's up, man?
Not a whole bunch, man. Just heading out to do some training, actually.
So how is training going for you?
Great. Having one of the best training camps. Probably hear that from the guys all the time. But,
yeah.
But really, the training camp's going real well. No complaints, no injuries.
Are there any people in particular that you have utilized to help you train for this fight?
Just a lot of the same guys that I've been using in the past. Jake Allenberger's been helping me out quite a bit with my wrestling. I've been going up to the university. I coach up there, so I've been using those guys. Quite a bit for wrestling. You got a new jiu-jitsu guy, John Hansen. You got second, I think, at the Worlds last year. Phenomenal grappler. So I have him and Scott Morton, and then my stand-up guy, Kurt Pedoni, is, he dumbs the stand-up down for me quite a bit. So I understand it, and so it's been going great.
What type of things are you fine-tuning to prepare yourself for this fight?
Fine-tuning mainly my stand-up. I have a tendency to start throwing looping punches and stuff. To sort of stay in the pocket and keep my head in one spot. So I've been trying to get more head movement, faster and straighter punches.
Well, your fight is about a month away. And so, obviously, you have way more time than you did to prepare for your last fight at UFC 114 versus Little Nog. I wanted to ask you, when you took that fight, how long did you have to prepare?
I had roughly about just right around 4 weeks or so. But the good thing was I was coming off of a fight, back in March, and I really didn't take a lot of time off. I took about 3 weeks off of just fighting.
Right.
But I was still doing my CrossFit and my strength and conditioning. So I wanted to do a triathlon with my dad that summer. So I figured, I'll stay in relatively good shape.
So is more of the focus on staying in shape as opposed to having a set game plan? Because me, I'm an outsider. I just love the sport. I try to understand it as much as I can. I've never fought, but what I think is, the game plan is the most important thing. Is that not the case for you, and especially when you were training for Nog?
Not for me. It's the game plan. I guess my game plan really has never changed. I'd go out there, try to take him down, beat him up on the ground. I don't think it'll ever change. I'm a wrestler at heart, and that's, I love the ground game.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, so to get back to your question, I think being in shape is huge. If you look at fights, if you look at anything in sports, it's a pretty basic play that's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
If you're real good at the basics, you're going to win 95% of the time. But the big thing is if you're not in shape to do the basics in the third round, then the first 2 rounds really didn't matter.
Curtains, yeah.
So that's a big thing. I've been really working on my, on my cardio and my strength too, and to hopefully be able to push it for, 3 rounds, be as fresh as I was in the first, and just keep going and keep going.
Have you ever been in a fight before where you weren't in shape or weren't in as good a shape as you should have been?
Yeah, I have been. It's horrible.
Was it like a fight that we've seen before?
No, all my fights, even my fight in Denver, where it looked like I was dying, but maybe I was, gassing and stuff, but I thought I felt in great shape for that. I don't know if it was just the altitude that got me or what. Getting rocked in that first round. And then I guess my last fight, the third round I was getting pretty tired, but I'm not sure what it is, but I feel great going into the fights, and I'm just sometimes you just get tired.
Do you think that's something that's like kind of, you can try to prepare for it as much as you can, but everything changes once you're in there and actually, going hand to hand with some guy?
Oh, definitely. Your adrenaline's dumping. You're trying to finish the fight, and you're cranking on something. I have a tendency once in a while to hold my breath. And it's like, gosh, dang,
I shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't do that. Especially, when I catch myself doing it, I'm like, gosh, dang, I was holding my breath there, and then like, just forget about it, get back to the fight. So,
well, I was actually looking at your record, your professional MMA record, and you have the only fights that you've lost since 2001 were both, I guess, split decisions. I mean, and they were both controversial. Does that piss you off at all? You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, so close to being undefeated since 2001, but one judge felt this way and another judge felt the other way.
I'm not upset about it by any means. This is fun for me.
Right.
I suppose if this was my livelihood and this is, how I'm supporting my family and stuff, yeah, I'd be upset then. But, I guess I have a unique perspective on it that,
right.
This is just fun, and it's great for me just to be able to go out there, because I was never, this great athlete or anything, and so to be able to go out there and do the things that I'm doing, I get to travel. I'm fighting in the UFC. I get to fight all these, these big names. I'm on pay-per-view.
Right.
I mean, all this cool stuff. That right there is, is enough for me. And then to be able to go out there and then compete with these guys,
it's crazy.
That's just is like, wow. I'm just this bow hunk from Omaha, Nebraska. I'm not supposed to be able to go with these guys.
You should give yourself more credit, man. You've been tearing it up.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I've been enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, I want to mention you had an 11-fight win streak before you lost to Elliot Marshall, I believe, at 103, UFC 103. That was somewhat controversial too. I imagine that you sort of got into a groove during that 11-fight win streak of, okay, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to train hard, and I'll probably win. Were you shocked when you found out that you didn't win that fight?
No. I was frustrated with that fight because, that was a tough one for me. Initially I thought, well, I lost because I couldn't take him down, and but then I went back and watched the fight, and I was like, man, I was pressing action. He was, he had a great game plan for me. He didn't want to go to the ground, kept it standing, but he, in no time, during the fight did he try to finish it. I mean, there's a couple times he had double underhooks on me. I'm thinking, all right, he has double underhooks on me. He's going to take me down here, and then, I'm going to be on my back. And, he just backed out of it. And there was, so for me, it was sort of frustrating because, I like to get in there and I like to mix it up. And,
right.
I mean, he did enough to win. So,
yeah,
congrats to him. But I think, for the fans, it was a horrible fight. It was very lackluster, and that's sort of frustrating because I like to put on.
Is that something that is like in the back of your mind when you're actually in there in the Octagon? Like I don't condone booing at all when people are putting on a fight for you. I think that's the most absurd, disrespectful thing to do ever. But I'm sure you hear it a little bit when you're in there if you're putting on a kind of lackluster fight, as you mentioned. Is that something that's in the back of your mind? Like, oh man, I should really start pressing this fight to entertain the crowd, or do you completely ignore it?
No, I hear it, but. I don't necessarily say, "Oh man, I have to do this for them." I'm doing I think it for myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I got to get in there. And if it's not fun for the fans, then I'm just sort of hanging out, not doing what I've been training to do, for the last 8-10 weeks, so it's
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's frustrating to get done with the fight and then go back and watch it and go, man, I should have done this, I should have done that.
Yeah,
that's.
Well, I got one or two more questions, and I'll let you go. I know you got to get to training. You mentioned that this is kind of fun for you, not really what you're doing full time. Why is that? Can you elaborate on why you don't think you want to pursue fighting in MMA as a full time job?
Well, there's when I say I don't do it full time, I mean it's not my bread and butter job. It's not what I plan on retiring with.
Mm-hmm.
I train just as hard as any of these guys, and I've invited anybody that thinks differently to come train with me for a week.
Mm-hmm.
There's two reasons mainly I don't do it. One, because I love my firefighting job, and two, I quit a job once years ago. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to fight full time now.
Huh.
And I started doing it, and it lasted about 3 months. It was just horrible. It was like, now I have all this pressure that I have to win. Otherwise, maybe I'm fighting for, back then it was, I'd fight, I don't know, maybe $1,000 or something.
Right.
And then if I won, another $1,000. So I'm like, man, if I don't win, I'm out $1,000. And then, I'd go to the gym, just like I'd normally do, and then I'd go home, then I'd go back to the gym later, I'd get my 2 workouts in, and then I'd have the nights off, and I'd be like, man, what am I supposed to do now? I was like, you know what, I can work, it's just, I guess for me it's just part of life,
Right.
I've always had a job, and so and a lot of these guys, you can only train so much a day. I can be at the gym for 8-10 hours a day. That's no problem. But in reality, I'm only getting a good solid hour and a half, 2 hours of a workout there anymore. Yeah. I mean, you're killing your body. You're not necessarily doing anything for your body.
Right. Huh. But the fact that you say it's kind of fun and everything, and you enjoy it, and you don't want all that pressure. I understand that, but I got to assume that in the back of your mind you're saying, okay, I really like doing this, but it would be really cool if I got a title shot. You know what I mean? Like, is that something that you're thinking about, and it's something that you're shooting for?
Oh, definitely. I'm not out here just to go out and lose to somebody and
mm-hmm.
say, oh, man, that was close. I go into every fight thinking I'm going to win.
Right.
And, every time I'm in the gym, I'm trying to get better. I'm not staying mediocre. I'm always looking. If the title shot, if it comes, great. If it doesn't, am I going to look at my career as a failure? Of course not.
Right.
You know? And so, I mean, like I said, I just enjoy fighting. I'd love to fight every guy in the division, just to see how I match up with them.
Is there anybody in particular that you have your eyes on that you say, wow, that'd be a great matchup? I hope that someday down the line we can make that fight happen.
No, not really anybody. Like I said, I'd like to fight everybody. Just fight everybody at least once. Just go through the division and see what happens.
Right.
I think it'd be a blast.
Awesome. Well, okay. Well, again, Jason takes on Vladimir Matyushenko at UFC 129. You can follow him on Twitter at Jason Brilz. Jason, thanks so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate
hopefully,
you guys having me on.
Hopefully we get you on after you destroy Matyushenko.
All right. Well, give me a call, man.
All right, buddy. Take it easy, man.
All right. Bye.